Hi, I'm Daniel with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at and I'm going to show you how to install the Patriot Braking System on our 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. I think the 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L makes a pretty solid flat toe setup. If you've got the family along, it's hard to beat. Seat 7, rides nice, and it's perfect for when you want to get out past the campground and see a little more. The trick is making sure you get one with Active Drive 2 or Quadra-Trac II four-wheel drive. That way you can tow it with all four wheels down and you don't have to mess with the drive shaft. Once you've got it all dialed in, it's one of those setups you can count on, family-friendly, dependable, and ready to go wherever you take your RV. There are 5 main components to your flat tow setup, and starting here on the vehicle side, you have the base plate kit. So this is the device that will attach directly to your vehicle's frame and give you mounting points for your tow bar. Now your tow bar is the in-between between your motorhome and vehicle. It will attach directly to the hitch. And your next component is going to be your safety cables. So these are important for if you have a catastrophic failure. Now you're also going to need your wiring. So your diode wiring in the back will control your left and right turn as well as your brake via this 7-pole plug here. And lastly, you're going to need a braking system. So there's going to be a braking system inside your vehicle, and that will enact the brakes when you push on them in your motorhome. One more thing you're going to need specifically for your Jeep Grand Cherokee is going to be a charge line kit, and that's just going to give a trickle charge from your motorhome into your battery so it stays charged and you're not arriving to your campsite and your vehicle's dead, and your braking system is going to be reliant on that as well. The only other thing you will need for this setup is going to be a constant power 12-volt outlet. This is connecting directly to the battery so you can power your braking system. This braking system is going to have proportional braking on your vehicle, meaning it'll mirror your motorhome's braking. So depending on how hard or light you press, it will be the same on your vehicle. Now this is a great setup. If you're somebody who flat tows multiple vehicles, you can simply take this out of one and put it in another, and it's super easy to set up. Like our neighbor today actually is flat towing a truck and this Cherokee. Now another reason you'd get it is because this is a big investment. And if you were planning on selling your vehicle, then you can just take this out and put it in your new one. Now, speaking of how easy this is, I'll go ahead and just show you real quick. You just simply set it in, attach the claw to the pedal, plug in your power and your breakaway switch, set your seat, and you're good to go. This is the monitor that will come with your braking system. You simply just put it in your motorhome and plug in your 12-volt power. And you have 3 buttons here. You have force. If you hit that, you can go all the way up to 9. You can hit OK to set that. That'll be how much force the brakes will apply on your vehicle. And then you have a dim light and then a manual override brake. So you press that and that will brake on your vehicle. This will light up when you press the brakes on the motorhome, indicating that your braking system is working on your vehicle. Now I'll go ahead and pull the breakaway switch so you can see that happen. Speaking of setup, it is really easy to set up. And as far as install goes, it is easy as well. You will have to run wires from your breakaway switch up into your cab, and you're going to have to run a wire from the battery to your 12-volt power. If you have any further questions about what braking system is going to be right for you or any of the other components you're going to need for your flat tow system, then please feel free to reach out to us at eTrailer. Now, as far as the install goes, like I said, it's pretty simple, but if you don't have the time or tools to do it yourself, then check out our dealer locator and we can find a professional in your area to get this done for you. But if you're ready to get installed, follow along and I'll show you how to do it. We went ahead and took our fascia off to get this base plate on, and if you're needing to learn how to take your fascia off, then follow along on the base plate video. But as far as the breakaway switch goes, this is going to be a lot easier to attach with that fascia off. And it does have a mounting location on our base plate today. And I'll go ahead and put our bolt through. And I'm putting washers on either side just because the hole's a little big. And then I'll put our nylock nut on the back side. And now I'll get this tightened up. Next up, we're going to want to route this wire harness up into the cab. So on this end, I'm going to route this just this way real quick and get this plugged in to our breakaway switch. And now I'll get this pulled through. I went ahead and taped this connection point just so water doesn't get in there and so it doesn't get separated. Next, I'm going to go ahead and find an entry point into the firewall so I can get it into the cab. Now there is a carpet liner up here, and I'm going to remove these push pin fasteners just with a flat head just to get this out of my way. There is a plug attached to this. It's just going to be a light. You can't unplug that, but I'm just going to kind of fold this out of my way so I can get to working under here. There didn't seem to be any accessible spot to get this into the cab. So what I'm going to do is I actually found a grommet, and I'm going to open this up to a 1/2 inch right here and get this wire fed through that. Now I got a piece of airline tubing I'm going to use as a wire fish. I'll get this fish down through. This is our 12-volt outlet, and on the other end you're going to have the ground and then your power wire. Now I will have to cut this and reattach it outside just so I can get this through the firewall. I got my piece of airline tubing on the inside, and now I'm going to tape up our wire and get this pulled through. Now I'll go ahead and thread my grommet through, and I can get this put in place. I got my ground and power wire, and I just routed it under this trim piece. Now I'm going to strip the power wire back. Go ahead and get a heat shrink butt connector. Get this crimped on. I'll go ahead and grab a piece of wire just to extend this to the battery and get this crimped on as well. Now I got a heat gun, and I'm going to go ahead and get this shrunk down. And these connectors are really good because they'll just prevent water from getting in there and corroding your wires. We routed the power wire over to our battery, and now at this point we would snip this end and put this on the positive terminal, but we decided to upgrade today to an inline fuse holder. This is just a little more modern device, and it's a little easier to access. So I'll go ahead and get my ring terminal on one side of this. Now on our positive terminal, I'll go ahead and take this off with a 13mm socket. Now I will get our inline fuse attached and get this tightened back down. Now I'll go ahead and cut this to length, strip it back, and get these two attached. For the ground right here, I am just going to use a self-tapper and self-tap this into the frame. And the last thing we want to do is we're going to grab a 20-amp fuse and get this put in our fuse holder. It does come with a bracket you can mount, but I like a cleaner look, so I'm actually just going to zip tie it back here, and when it's not in use you can just push it back when you're not using it. I'll get my airline tubing that I'm using as a fish, and I'm going to put it in the hole we drilled. This will go into the cab. Went ahead and got this through. It was a little difficult for that 1/2 inch grommet. But now I can tape this onto my airline tubing and get this pulled into the cab. And now we got it pulled into the cab, and I'll go ahead and zip tie some of this slack up, and we should be good to throw our Patriot in. I'm just gonna move the seat all the way back so I can get this to fit in. And I already took the floor mat out. Usually there's rubber floor matting. You're gonna wanna take that out because it's gonna make this a lot easier to set up. So on the back here, there's a knob, and I'm gonna adjust this all the way up here so it aligns with our seat. Get this tightened down. And this claw here does have different settings where I can set this to be smaller or larger depending on their pedal size. So I'll go ahead and see if this works with our pedal. This brake arm is a little off to the side, and you're going to want to get this around that in most cases. And I found that if I got it right on the edge there, it does go around the brake arm, and this looks like a pretty good fit. I'll go ahead and move the seat up, almost touching the pads on the back. Probably like an 1/8 inch away there. Now I'll go ahead and plug in our 12-volt power right there, and plug in our breakaway switch right in the middle. I'll go ahead and hit the power button. And as you can see, they're flashing, so you just want to hit setup. And then I'll move the seat just a little bit more, and I'll go ahead and do this a couple more times, make sure I like everything. So now with everything working properly in the cab, I'll go ahead and pull our breakaway switch to enact an act of catastrophic failure. So I'll go ahead and give this a pull. And as you can see, everything's working properly. And that was a look at the Patriot Braking System on our 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L.